Hey, it says we're live. We could be live. I think we are.
Great.
So we're just going to say a few little words because we've spooled this up just so that people, when they arrive, we're already here. So welcome. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so that everyone knows where they are and haven't just wandered into a random live stream. So, Michelle, should we start?
Yes.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are in the studio, as you can see, going to do our live stream. So let's have a few little admin things. Michelle, why don't you tell everyone who you are, even though they've seen our LinkedIn profiles? Be good to say a quick hello.
So I'm Michel Koch. I've been in retail for more than I can remember, mostly e-commerce roles. And I'm heading up, amongst other things, the Grey Hair Works business in France, working with the team in the UK and doing many events and exciting things with you guys and as well.
Lovely. Well, welcome. We'll tell more about what we've been up to. So I'm Ian Jindal, one of the founders of RetailX, which researches performance in the D2C digital world. And today we're just going to be looking at what we've been up to at NRF. So just some practicalities. Ask us any questions. The stream will last about 35 minutes. Addison, our lovely head of marketing, is eyes glued to the chat, which we can't see. And I have a screen here. So if you do ask anything, he'll remove the insults and ask us the questions. So just do ask away while we're on live. Of course, if you're watching this in some catch-up, then too late, but you will see the answers. Secondly, you'll get the deck after the event. So we'll send you this deck, a link to the store maps database to enjoy, and anything else we promise as we go through, then we'll wrap that up and I'll mail you later. Again, if this is something you're watching in catch up and you think, oh, I wish I'd had a chance to ask, you've got anything else to ask, either drop us a note, just DM us on LinkedIn, or send an email, nrf@retailx.net. We'll pick that up and get back to you. Practicalities over. We're going to talk today a bit about the size and shape of NRF2025. We've been going for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it's just to give you a feedback, especially now that we're post-COVID, early Trump, it does give a different view to life there.
Definitely.
If there are any overall themes, and then we'll talk about the store tour. So I think that's all we're going to cover off. Michel, why don't you kick off by telling us about NRF?
Fun fact, Jan, did you know that the NRF was around for 114 years already? That organization?
I sort of did, because a couple of years ago, I was getting quite jealous of the event, because, we run events here, and I thought, how would you get this big? And so I was chatting to one of the organisers. I said, please explain to me, how is it such a monster? And she just put her arm on my shoulder and said, Ian, she said, just start 100 years ago and you'll be fine. So
Exactly.
I did sort of know.
So that's super big. And 25,000 square meters also is quite impressive.
Enormous. It's enormous.
And hundreds of exhibitors. How many attendees?
40,000.
Yeah.
40,000. And it feels like 40,000, not a
does.
made-up number. So just to be clear, it's in the Javits Centre, which is an enormous, it's like having the NEC in the middle of the city. And it's 3 operating floors of 1,000 exhibitors. And then, as if that wasn't big enough, they've built a 7-story conference centre at the end. And you walk into this place, and each floor is enormous, and they have 10,000 person keynotes, which, I mean, it's like going to a football stadium. It's enormous. So when you're walking around the floor, I thought this year that it felt calmer. So lots of people, really good quality, great conversations, but you weren't sort of, your face in someone's armpit.
And you weren't queuing all the time.
Exactly. So it was just right for me. But I think that's because so many people were in the content streams as well.
Exactly. And those 3 days, every year it's the same story. They go by so fast.
Yeah.
You struggle to know what to do because there's so many things to do and see.
But you say 3 days. We were there a week each because NRF officially used to start on a Sunday, but really on the Friday you've got the VIP awards that Vicky Cantrell and team runs. Then Saturday,
There's a full day
store
event
tours and the
there's-
retail media event.
Exactly.
So that's like a pre-event. Then the opening party. Sunday, which used to be a lazy day, is now rammed with big idea sessions. Bash, bash, bash. Store tours.
Store tours again.
20 dinners at least and a party.
Yeah.
Monday,
Pick your battles.
show floor madness.
Yeah.
You know, there's just too much to see. And then Tuesday, which used to be quick croissant, then we fly home, is also an enormous day with again a pile of dinners.
Exactly.
So then we went and did other things and did a dinner. So it's turning into a real week of retail.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact, many vendors make it a week because they organize side events outside of the days. We were with VTEX this year, but
so we did VTEX. Google did a day. Who else? There were loads of people doing things around
suspects,
it.
You know,
and again,
Salesforce.
A decade ago, if you'd tried to put an event that sort of competed with NRF and took people off the show floor, they'd have been quite cross with you. And I think, you know, people have come and maybe twisted your arm and told you off. But now it's literally a week of activities.
Exactly.
I mean, let's segue quickly into VTEX. So they were kind enough to invite us onto some of their activities. This wasn't a bolt-on, last-minute, unplanned session, was it?
A little bit. No. It was really good to join them and their tour. They had mostly LATAM visitors with the group, so it was a very nice group. It's fair to say that in terms of international retailers, it's around 7,000 out of the 40,000 that are international. 2,000 of them are Brazilians, so it's the biggest delegation after the US,
which is enormous.
So yeah, it's a big thing, and we were hosted by VTEX, and it took us through very interesting stores. You know, the H Mart was
which
amazing.
Is the amazing Korean, now Pan-Asian cuisine. So like a cross between wholesale meets retail meets live market meets community centre with restaurants.
Exactly.
I mean, what a concept. So we went to visit their new robotized pick and pack warehouse, which we'll be writing up later. Interesting, I thought, was that it's not fully mechanized. It's very much, if I'm a fast-growing business and I want to improve, I can add in some robot and workforce optimization, but it really felt like they were at the start of a journey, and that was really interesting to see.
Absolutely.
We went to see Whole Foods, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn was amazing. You go into their offices. They have 7 floors in the Empire State Building, and it's an amazing office space. And we got keynotes from some of the staff there. Some of the directors showed us around, and great. Same with Amazon, AWS, just next door to LinkedIn. Great meetings and keynotes from.
And again, it's interesting, as well as organising these great sessions around the show. You know, one evening it's like, hey, we're just having a little event. Come and have some drinks and some Brazilian foods. Oh, by the way, Simone Biles is speaking, and that was quite a party. So again, the scale, I think, is extraordinary, and something we don't normally see in European events. You know, even the amazing ones like DMXCO and some of the national events, OMR even. It is worth just pulling back slightly, because someone's going to say, look, Ian, don't you spend your life writing about e-commerce and digital commerce? It's worth reminding everyone that NRF is a retail body first. They did 102 years, I think, without the internet. And so when you look around this store, it's very much a retail first store that has had digital added. It's not like, say, a Shop Talk, which is digital first
Definitely.
with a store. And I think that when you see the feedback, people are saying, oh, well, why you focus so much on trolleys, tills, POS, OMS, etc. It's like, well, because that's what the bulk of stores are doing, and they're digitizing that.
And to be honest, they have very few pure players.
Yeah.
Speaking, there's more and more, but it's really about omni-channel
Yes. So I think when we look at the EU 500 ranking that we do, or our EU 1000, there are very few pure play digital, because most digital players will want to have some form of physical instantiation as well. No one wants to be a single channel if they don't have to be. But I think where it does maybe leave a space is for those direct to consumer startups and some of the digital innovators, especially as we start seeing AI based startups offer services that aren't strictly retail but very much D2C.
And there is a whole area dedicated to innovation, the innovation lab area.
The Innovation Lab.
But every area is about innovation. And there's one that I believe you particularly liked in the show, one of the innovation zone.
So I'm going to just show this to the camera, say no. So that's the size of the innovation zone. Yeah. Let the record show it's a something and big. And there was quite a nice approach this year to selecting what makes a company appropriate to the innovation zone. So it was about size, etc. We have to apply to a review committee that says, oh yes, you are innovative and different, because there's no lack of innovation throughout the enormous stands or people who've got a standard stand. So it was very much a curated slot. So I think if we were generalizing, which I know we don't like to do, but basically AI is in everything, it's everywhere, and frankly, it was just absolutely boring. It doesn't mean anything except for, I think, a little twist, which is that last year it's, hey, there's a thing called AI and we're going to use it. This year it's like, yeah, of course we've got it, and here's how it works. There's much more demonstration and so on. One of the ones I particularly liked was a company, let's get their website, called Mira, and you can see them at mira.cv, Charlie Victor. And this was one of my favorite things, which is a zero training camera-based checkout. So we're used, for example, to rapid checkout with AI, because we've seen that, for example, at Decathlon and others, throw everything in, RFID, it all gets done nicely. One of the challenges with grocery is you don't RFID everything. So they have a system where you just unload your bag, your basket, onto a mat or so the camera can see, and it then tells you what they are. So, of course, the first thing you do is you pick up a bottle of ketchup and you stand it on its end, so all they can see is the bottom. And the first time you do that, it goes, what is this? And then just teaches itself. Or you try another thing, which is you take two, let's say, pasta boxes of Barilla. One's 250 grams, one's 500 grams. You put them side by side so they look the same size, and it can still tell the difference. It's using volumetrics, AI-powered vision, linking to the product databases. And I looked at that and thought, that actually works, is very clever. So out of all of the things, the thing that got me most was, I need one of those in my grocery store. How about you? What would you like to
Well, there's one I'll pick out. It's that in the US there's a big thing around theft right now. I mean, it's not new. Definitely, they have shrinkage is what they call it, and they're trying to innovate around that, find ways to mitigate that risk. If you go to any given store, you see a lot of products are locked up nowadays, so it's not really a good experience.
again, I didn't quite believe it because a number of people on LinkedIn are posting pictures saying I've just been in my local Target or CVS and all the razor blades are locked
Exactly.
up. But when you see it, that's the way it is.
Yeah, and the theft issue is not just in the stores where it's obviously a big issue with organized crime and the likes of that. It's also during transport, and I've seen a presentation by a startup who came up with a device that is really like a credit card that fits in any truck, any even pallet, so you can put it anywhere, and it's a sensor that
Yeah.
not only is a GPS where you can track where's your truck, where's your pallet, but also measures humidity, temperature, a lot of
Oh,
metrics
nice.
coming back and checking, if it's food, if it's
Yeah.
at risk of being, So amazing tech for one simple task is
Great.
track and trace every single product.
So I think the fact that we are focused on these physical retail things that really stood out to us shows a lot about the event. But I also think it's just worth throwing up quickly this new area that was at the show. So remember, traditional retail, tick, e-com add-on, tick, AI everywhere, boosh. Retail media, it's a thing, run a whole day event,
Yeah.
job done. New area they're looking at now is the food service innovation zone, which frankly just looks like every other bit of an expo, apart from this enormous Heinz thing, which is a big sort of
there was a
photo bomb.
Instagram
Instagrammable. Although looking around, I think the average age of people, I'm not sure they were big
Selfies.
Instagrammers, but what's interesting about this is a broader move into D2C. So wherever the consumer is experiencing service, product, and it can be automated or improved, and there are vendors, I think we'll see this area growing, especially because the guys at Shop Talk have grocery talk as well. And so I think this is part of a move of broad D2C services. So all we need now is, hotel zone, and then maybe a streaming zone, and then we'll have all of commerce in. So anything else to cover off on the event, or are we ready to move on to the US economy?
Let's move on to the US economy and
Yeah. Hey, cover the US economy in a couple of slides, Michelle.
Yeah.
No pressure.
no pressure. No, in short, we had this gentleman, Michael Marangel, whom you see here, presenting as part of the VTEX experience tour. And he took us through the ups and downs of what's going on in the world. Obviously, you can tell, that AI is pretty much everywhere. It's becoming increasingly prevalent in businesses, automating.
Sorry, he is US Department of Trade.
Yeah, Department of Trade in charge of LATAM.
In charge of LATAM. So he was giving us a view, if you like, from out of the US into another region.
Exactly. So here you started with, what's happening in the world, the ups and downs. In terms of ups, definitely everyone is adopting AI, whether it's for allowing employees to focus on higher value tasks or improving the customer experience with the personalized interactions.
Yeah. And again, I think it's worth pointing out here that I think 2 years ago, we were talking about there were robots everywhere.
Yeah.
And we made the point that nobody in their presentation said, hire a robot and fire your staff. It was all about increasing productivity. And I think what we're seeing now with AI is that, again, no one's saying, cut your frontline staff.
Yeah.
How do you empower them? I think there's a good and a bad here. The good is obviously it's great for career development for staff.
Yeah.
But I think the underlying point is frontline staff levels have been cut to the bone, then they've chopped a leg off, and then they've halved it. So you physically can't have fewer staff than you have now.
Definitely.
So I think on the front line, we're seeing AI building up staff capability. But I think at head office, it's not quite as sanguine.
Fair comment. But the buzzword of this year's NRF is agentic AI.
Yes.
You could hear that everywhere. It's the big thing, and as it says on the tin, it's about AI becoming your agent, your sort of personal assistant, and that applies to store staff as well.
And I think where this is going to be interesting is where the agent flips from being a clever bit of software that your vendor adds on. So if you think about the trend, it'd be we have monolithic software. We have software as a service that you can play with. We have APIs that can put things together, and we have an app so that you can do more. Now we've got agentic.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to be interesting is when the agent is your agent, not your software provider's agent, and it can span across multiple feature sets and multiple suppliers, then all of a sudden that's going to be quite a big change in retailer head offices. Because again, the thing we hear more and more is, why are you not buying any more software this year? It's like, well, I bought it last year and the year before. I'm using 5% of the feature set. I still haven't finished the integration. And every time I ask a question, it takes 2 weeks for the analyst to go and find it, send it back to me, answer my questions. If all of a sudden you're just saying, I asked, Ian's agent to go and find all the data, present it to me with some recommendations, and I was in the car and I said, accept number 3, improve number 2, and could you organise a dental appointment for me as well? That's when all of a sudden I think the future's arrived.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think it'll be this year?
We're starting to see that already.
I'll tell you what, for our back from NRF2025, let's see whether we can do this with 2 avatars and we're not even here. It's just dialing and doing it. So that's a date.
And we schedule it.
Good.
So a few more things about the ups and downs of the world situation. I'll go through that quickly. But, marketing techniques are improving. Fluidity of supply chains, again, aided by AI, IoT, blockchain. And then, obviously, new opportunities in terms of nearshoring and what they call reshoring or friendshoring. So strategies to relocate your sources of supply because of the trade wars as well.
But also this, again, I think it's worth saying that this was presented less than a month ago.
Yeah.
And so all of the comments about friendshoring, nearshoring, reshoring, they didn't have the hand grenade in the kerosene jar that's just happened to us in the last fortnight.
I come to that. Yeah. We see a lot of downs as well, volatility of oil. One that is particular to the US is the avian influenza. I was not aware personally of the impact it had.
How many birds are being killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're talking about how many birds? I have the data somewhere, but it's massive.
But also this is why, again, if you're watching American politics, there's this obsession with the price of eggs. And you're thinking, why is this? It's because literally so many millions of birds have been killed because of avian flu, which again impacts on trade.
140 million birds.
I mean, that's a lot of nuggets.
Definitely. Across 15 states. So, and now we've seen also, there's also human impact in terms of the influenza becoming deadly for humans. So big concern there.
But despite all of that, the feeling you get walking around is that everyone's quite perky. So if I were looking at the news, you'd be expecting people to be hugging in the streets and wailing. But, the impression in Manhattan is that store occupancy is full.
Yeah.
There are crowds. There's this interminable queuing where stores are so busy that they have the velvet ropes outside.
Exactly.
It seems buzzing. So
very
your comment around
a couple of
the
years ago.
economy being strong is definitely something you feel on the streets.
Absolutely. And another thing, America is still the first economy in the world, whether we like it or not.
Actually, we should say on this date, the 5th of February.
True. A number of factors explain for that. And this gentleman, Michael, took us through that. Stock market boom, housing, etc., etc. At the end of the day, we also note that there's a slight decline in the beginning of the year. So let's be careful about those numbers.
Yeah.
But you could feel that the election had also an impact on the morale.
Yes.
A positive one.
And of course, you had the the economy in the US is very much tied to the stock market.
Absolutely.
Because unlike in the UK and maybe in France as well, our pension plans aren't visible to us. You're just told, keep saving, and when you get old, you'll get this amount a week. But we don't worry about it because of the 401ks and because people are tracking their stocks, they see their value go up and down, and there's a visceral connection there.
Very interesting keynote by Joyce Chang, whom you see here from Morgan Stanley. It was about the policies of Donald Trump 2.0 and how that would impact potentially retail and the consumer market. Obviously, all imported goods, we see that happening now, big time. So it's really interesting to see that those tariffs that have been applied, 15 to 20%, are happening. There's obviously a back and forth movement, and at the time it was not yet fully live, but seen as a positive, as America first, protecting the US, but a lot of measures around deregulating business, prioritizing local manufacturing, etc. So, really.
But this slide shocked me, or as my kids would say, shooketh me. Look at
this
that.
one, yeah.
This is just incredible. Talk us through this.
So that's, the before and after 24 years into trade, international trade. You see on the left-hand side, the countries that, have a larger trade with the US are in blue. And then 24 years later, it's mostly China who's trading the most volumes with the world. So China has definitely taken over trading more globally.
I think that just is geopolitics in a slide, isn't it, right now?
Absolutely.
Jumping back to the world of digital commerce, this morning we woke up to see that as part of the tariffs, one of the things that the US has done is remove the de minimis level for delivery. So if you want to send anything via e-com or just as a present to the US, that anything under $800 just whooshes straight through. So there's no customs stop, no tariff, no duty, no inspection. So of course, companies like Shein, Temu, etc., boosh, you just buy everything for $15 or less. As of today, they're stopped, and the US Postal Service has said it's not accepting any parcels from China, period, because it just physically cannot cope with the backlog of storing, filling out the documentations. It's just saying no, send them back. So it will be quite interesting to see how that works, because when they were going to stop TikTok, people were wailing and posting TikToks saying bye-bye.
It lasted 12 hours.
Will this last? And who's it going to impact? Because the US consumers' love with buying things, touching them, putting them in landfill shouldn't be underestimated.
Definitely.
So, okay, that's a really good point. I think, let's touch on retail media quickly before we go to the stores.
So retail media definitely still a priority, a critical source of revenue for major players, and I'm underlining major.
And by major, you mean people who are just swimming in traffic?
Yeah. Mostly the large superstores. And there's a dozen of, retail media networks that are sharing a very small piece of the cake, as we see on that chart. Amazon is still by far the number one leader, with Walmart as a second. But very far behind, and the others share the rest of the cake. But there's a debate amongst the smaller retailers around whether that should be still a priority for them or whether they should move on to something more valuable for them. And that's, really where it's at.
I mean, it is interesting that, again, from a marketing industry perspective, this is just a shuffling and a move to more people having more data, more transparency, and more transactions. So the transaction volume will increase, value will go down, commissions will be made. But if you're in a retailer, this is like being on the beach and having a massive wave of cash come over you, because this cash was normally cash that you just spent as performance marketing, and now you're thinking, God, I can share in this money. It's free money. So I think there is a feeling of grab the free money while you can, because at some point it's all going to even back out again.
It's not totally free money. They have to set up a department. They have to make things happen. They have to work with a network and have their capabilities and clean the data, which is very expensive. But once you've done that, you're in a good position.
Free money.
Yeah.
Well, 90% margin
good margins.
Money. Yes, exactly. We should also say that retail media was brought to life. Now, people who know me know I'm not really a taxi person, but in New York, fired up Uber to get to Javits, and then this is what I saw in my Uber app. So Klaviyo and Shopify, 10 out of 10 for targeted marketing. Obviously, because I'd set Javits as my destination, they're the ads saying go and see Shopify and Klaviyo at their stands, cracking. If only they'd said, Ian, if you guarantee to come and see us, this taxi ride will be free.
Did you see those taxis that were painted in Shopify?
Absolutely.
Well? So they did a good job there.
Yeah.
As well.
In fact, when we walked into some stores, we'd say, oh, hello, we're just doing a bit of retail research. They say, oh, are you here with the event? So it definitely has an impact
it's a regular.
on people. So that's retail media.
One thing that's worth noting, regardless of Shopify and the others and digital, it's still about stores. Again, coming back to what NRF is about, it's about the stores. And this year, and this gentleman Andrew Busby made a fair comment. It's stores are again. It's all about stores.
Yes.
Front and center. Everyone acknowledges that it's where the magic happens. It's where people want to shop. Whether they deliver in stores or not, actually, but it's really coming back, and we'll see that in the store tours. Stores are the home of retail.
Lovely. Well, let's crack on with those then, because I think we've covered those points. So we did some store tours, as is our want, and the store tour database, if you want to access it, use the QR code or just sit back and I'll send you the link anyway. All the stores are up on an interactive map, so enjoy those. But we had a couple of wow stores, and with no graphic skills at all, that's a screen dump of what we think are just the standout. It's worth walking to them, dumping your family and going to check them all out. But just because time is short and so am I, let's just go through the ones that were standout. And you, Michelle, I'm sorry, in a selfish move, you grabbed Arc'teryx.
Yes.
Tell us about the Arc'teryx store and why it rocks.
Why it rocks, it's a very good location for starters. You know this brand. I know you're a customer.
Yes. So Arc'teryx makes Patagonia look cheap.
Yeah.
So it's Canadian performance
outdoor
wear with a technical edge. So things like laser welded seams, super low levels of seam overlap, blah, blah, blah. It's about being out and just showing everybody you're the kind of person that buys the best kit.
Exactly. And it looks like it's a pro store. You go there because you're a pro of mountaineering. You're really into that. You're happy to spend $400 on a jacket.
That's
or
entry
more,
level.
entry level,
Entry level.
or more. But the beauty of that, I mean, and the uniqueness of that store, I mean, apart from the fact that it's 14,000 square feet, sorry, it features refurbished products. And that's what I really liked about it. There was very little talk about sustainability or the planet in this year's show. It's always, something that is in the background, but it's not front
It wasn't
and center.
highlighted this year.
So that store really is and that business is really about you buying something really expensive but keeping it for life. And they're showcasing. You see on the right-hand side, this red jacket, it's I think 24 years old, and they're showcasing as something that people have worn and worn again, and they have this lab in the underground in the store.
And it's worth saying that this is a massive store that looks like they've literally had to get every single product they own in order to fill the ground floor. Then they've added a cafe at the end in a sort of alpine hut style.
Yeah. It's a very large screen.
So you really get this feeling that they've had a good deal on the property or they're investing in it. And then they have the same size underground, beautifully lit, which is customization and shortening and changing of things, which is quite tricky given the materials. Then they do repairs.
Yeah, that's it.
And they do second-hand refurbished. It's the first time they're selling that here.
And we had someone explain us how they do the repairs and showing us how they go about it. And it's really, and you make an appointment, and depending on what you need to repair, and it's free. That's the thing.
But I think what's interesting as well is that it really is the best of the brand brought to life with this quiet recycling with a second-hand mixed in. It was really nice. Another store you grabbed then was a bit of an eye-opener for us, namely the Dyson store. This is the
very new, September
very new one
last year. So second shop in New York. They had one already. So
on Fifth.
On the 5th. And this one is
soulless.
at the heart of Soho. So it's really, and bricks and clicks. Red bricks and clicks in the store, very digital, but in a vintage format. You get to interact with the products. You have lots of screens, etc. But it's all about experience and experimenting with the products. And someone will guide you through the whole assortment and show you what the products are about. Probably the best product descriptions you can imagine, because they also have. And maybe we can show the next slide.
Can if the slide person is paying attention. Thank you.
No, that's it's really educational as well as experiential, because they not only do they show you and explain the technology, but they also go beyond that. If you're into what's it called? This thing to dry your hair dryers. I'm not using any of that, but you might. And if you're interested in what hair is about, they have a whole explanation.
But this is the first place where you really see them not just talking about the electrical items, but also the hair care products that they've developed alongside it. So for me, it's the brand moving into a more rounded service. But also I think it's something to do with Dyson starting to focus a bit more on organic things. I mean, he's bought farm. They're doing agricultural products. His son opened a store. They spent about 60 million, I think, on buying the place. Very much about sustainability, working in harmony with the architecture. I think compared to most Dyson stores, which they're fine, but they are devoid of soul. And they're all templated. This one
feels like a science museum too, because you're deep diving into the product, what it's for, how it works, and down to what a hair is, and you can look into a microscope. We see that, and it's really fun.
And performance-wise, we were assured that the conversion rate of the store was incredibly high.
Definitely.
So I'm trying to remember if it was 13% or 30%. Let's go with 13 because it sounds less extreme. But what they're saying was that because it's off the beaten track in Soho, unlike the Fifth Avenue, people tend to come there as the last moment to experience before they drop their cash. And so it's a really nice feel in there. People are very interested, engaged, and they are buying what are
And
essentially
they're
very expensive
showcasing the
items.
latest products, like their headphones. We got to try those on, and yeah, it's
Yes.
really good
And the
ones.
one with the air filter. Anyway,
Exactly.
think what you like.
Yeah.
This to me is the best Dyson store ever.
What about this one?
So Gentle Monster, a South Korean glasses, spectacles store with absolute attitude. They have a number of stores around the world, including one in London. I think is there one in Paris as well?
Not that I know of.
Well, anyway, there may or may not be. This one just takes the biscuit though because it's an enormous store for probably only 300 SKUs, but full of robots, animatronic displays, interactive social media displays. So it's quite an extraordinary place. The presentation of the product is you expect them to cost $5,000 each, but there's a price point around $300 to $400 for a frame, which is, for those of us who are glasses wearers, that's quite cheap. And then full service in store as well. It couldn't be nicer or more skilled. So just a shout out to them. Another store worth looking at is the Leica store. All midlife crisis men who like German engineering and photography either have or aspire to a Leica. This is them bringing back their stores from franchise, direct ownership, and it combines a gallery in the store with an upstairs which has cafe, discussion area, training zone, opening out onto a low rooftop terrace, kind of a place to go and hang out because there's a limit to how many Leica items you can buy when they only have, 100 products. So very nice community gallery engagement space, a real standout in meatpacking that makes the most, I think, of the architecture around it. Speaking of architecture, oh my
right.
God.
Yeah, that one.
Just how much money does Louis Vuitton have? I just don't understand. So this
As the owner,
is
a lot.
this is their landmark. Oh no, they have the landmark flagship, and it's not enough to have that, which is amazing. But also includes things like cafe, restaurant, experience zone. So these are becoming more Disney-fied. I'm not being dismissive. All I mean is it's a visit and lots of experiences in one, not just buying, a bag or something. But on the corner of Fifth and whatever street that is, they're not only renovating the whole building, but they've clad it in, what is that, 20 stories of Louis Vuitton luggage.
Yeah.
And this isn't cheap. This isn't your, let's just paint a bit of canvas and, have a joke. I was told that the metal fastenings on this weigh £600 each. So it's like 280 kilos of solid metal. The whole thing is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
So it is literally their money in your face. And back in Soho, I just want to do a little shout out to Balenciaga for having the chops to redo this building in the most concrete, minimalist, brutalist way. This should get an Oscar as well. So I think what this is showing is that the luxury brands, they now have multiple flagships. They do multiple artistic collaborations. They've gone up to the next level now, which is, creating some exceptional pieces.
Reminds me of Kate.
Exactly, which was one of our favourites from last year. Just quickly, a shout out to Wegmans. This is their new, well, it's a year old now, store in Manhattan. But I did just want to point out the skills here. So this is Adrian, who's a fishmonger. When you go and buy fish, he will not only fillet and prepare it for you, but he'll also do it in the Japanese way as well. And he then explained to us, the different ways of killing, keeping, cutting fish, etc., which is air freighted over every Tuesday from Tokyo. I didn't tease him about carbon footprint. I just admired the skills. So that was good. But we can't leave without are.
our
Is this our
favorites.
favorite shop?
Yeah, I think so.
We love Petco.
Every year, it feels even better than the
So
previous
last year was our top store
Yeah.
because of its wowness, and this year it's just as wow. So I think it still gets our must-go top store in
Yeah,
New York.
definitely.
Why do you love it? Tell everyone what it is first off.
What it is, it's the one-stop shop for your pet, basically, if you have the money.
If you have the money,
If
thank you.
That's an important nuance, yeah, because you get to pamper your pet from A to Z, starting with what we see here on the screen, which is a sort of hairdressers for dogs.
It's a barker shop instead of a barber shop.
Exactly. Which is, they also have this sense of humor.
It is a good sense of humor.
So you've got that, and where you can see it live, even outside of the store.
Just looking at the dogs getting
it's entertainment as well. You see those dogs very patiently being, hairdressed. There's also a food market for dogs, fresh food. We can see that on a different.
This is.
slide.
I'll just put it on here. Yeah. So this
On
is
the right-hand side, when you come in, on the left-hand side, you've got the barber, and the right-hand side, you've got the sort of.
And this is human grade,
Yeah.
chef-made meal plans for your dog.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we let that sink in.
Then there's what I really like about the new Petco concept is how they moved from selling dog food to becoming the one-stop company for your dog's health. It goes beyond the food.
That's a
so
good point.
the food becomes the sort of the deliverables at the end of the day, but they have this vet.
Yeah, they have 5 vets.
Or more than that, now they have
in store.
Oh, in store, yes, but overall they have 40 vets in the business, and they're hiring more everywhere. And your dog has a sort of, and they also sell insurance.
Yes.
They also sell,
and they do dog training, dog walks.
Everything you need for your dog's life from A to Z, including, I mean, starting with adoption. They also have.
Oh, that's true. Yes, and they have an area under the stairs with cats and dogs and so on.
Yeah, it's really a very.
And you see this again. Just remember how New York this is. So you're standing on Union Square, doing your little introduction. You point out the architecture of the building, which is amazing. Former post office, I think, beautifully done up. And there's just a succession of blacked out Range Rovers, Lincoln Town cars, limos that whoosh up onto the no parking area, and then someone runs in, grabs stuff, or they carry their dog in. Yeah. I mean, it really is that only New York feeling.
Definitely.
But done with a sense of humour.
And then they have innovation in store as well. It's not just, the concept and the business model that is interesting. It's also how they drive innovative products. They have the digital signage that everyone has. They have these new devices we see here on the right-hand side.
That was an automated self-cleaning litter tray. It looks like a cat cannon.
Definitely,
but it's actually. I wanted one of those.
And everything is very neat in the store.
Yeah.
And also, there's a sort of pet-friendly mood to that store because they're always,
So the floor is polished concrete, and there are these little stations that say if you have an accident, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Cleaning up.
Yeah.
So it's very nice.
It's a 5-star hotel for dogs.
It is. Well, look, given that neither of us are particularly dog oriented, it's done well to convince us. So look, our time is about up.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if there's anyone left on the live stream. If there is, well done. You've made it to the end. Just as we round up, you'll get the deck. Thank you very much. QR code if you want to look at the store database and see the ones we didn't have time to cover. Contact us on LinkedIn if you've got any questions or just want to say hello and be sociable. We'll be back in NRF for 2026.
January 26th.
So
join us.
I think we're visiting. We've got a summer visit, and we'll be back in the autumn doing store tours. So if you've got a great store that we should look at, drop us a note.
Definitely.
If you've got your favourites, do tell us. We're happy to stick our nose in and check them out. But before we're back in New York, NRF is launching Europe.
So there's a partnership between the NRF and Comexposium in September. It used to be called Paris Retail Week.
Paris Retail
Now NRF Europe, Paris.
Bien sûr.
Mid of September. Check it out online, and we'll be there.
We will be there.
Guiding
So
you through Paris stores.
if you want to join us for a little flaneuring around, we'll be doing some store tours, very
Croissant,
informal.
café.
Come and join us. We may do other things, so tell us if you're interested. So any Americans who can't make it over, let us know. We'll do a debrief on it. We're mulling. Are we going to take a little delegation? What does that even mean? Maybe. Who knows? Drop us a note. We're open to anything and everything at this stage. So catch us while our ideas are open. So I think, Michel,
Yeah.
we're done, aren't we?
Yeah.
Not bad. Enjoyable visiting NRF with you, of course, and also doing
Likewise.
this follow-up. Again, if you're shy and you want to ask anything or get something, let us know. All feedback is gratefully received, so give us that. But other than that, I think I might just click the end stream button now. Do you think it's the time?
I guess so.
Okay, well, look, thank you for joining us and wishing you happy trading. And for now, let's see if the big red button works. All the best.
Bye.